Hello and welcome to our new resident orientation. My name is Jessica Cartier and I'm the Lifestyle Director for Sandoval Community Association. We're glad that you're here and hope this presentation will give you a better sense of what life at Sandoval is all about. Sandoval Community Association, or the SCA, is dedicated to maintaining the beauty and integrity of Sandoval, as well as handling the financial responsibilities. All Sandoval homeowners are members of the SCA, and the SCA is also responsible for maintaining the common area property through the enforcement of the provisions of the Declaration of Covenants, Conditions, and Restrictions. Now, Associa Gulf Coast is the management company hired by SCA. We encourage residents to attend board meetings especially, and even committee meetings to see what's happening in your community, what actions these committees are working on. Also, very important committee is the ARC, or Architectural Review Committee. They are in place to review and approve modifications to your homes. So these should be exterior changes to your home or anything done with landscaping that is a change. So for example, if you are changing your home color, then you need an application. If you're simply repainting the same color, then you do not need an application. So that's kind of a simple rule there. St. Moritz is our security presence here at Sandoval. They are patrolling from 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. every day of the week. Common areas, those would consist of landscaping, the lakes, parks, roadways, esplanades, and streetlights. Should you have any questions or concern, you can stop by the front office. We are on site at the Associa Gulf Coast Management Team. Some might say that Club Sandoval is where all of the fun happens, but let's take a look at what it entails. So that we do have a fitness room that is 802 square feet of workout space. The Pelican building, or also called the multi-purpose room, these are where meetings and gatherings happen. We have a huge and beautiful lagoon-style pool with a water slide that is 100 feet. We have an open playing field, children's playgrounds, tennis, volleyball, basketball, bocce. We have 2 dog parks, a flex fitness room where you can do yoga or some video aerobics, and of course we have high-speed internet available. Our hours of operation for the community center or the front office is 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. We are closed on weekends and holidays. The fitness room is available from 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. Pelican building is accessible from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. So it's important to note that your key card will not work in the Pelican building after 7 p.m. Lagoon pool is dawn till dusk, so you will notice that the times do change with, throughout the year. Sports courts are available from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. Now let me introduce you to the management team for Associa Gulf Coast. First we have Chuck Keel, who's our general manager. We have Yamali Bobadilla, who is the administrative assistant, and McKenna McFadder, who is our receptionist. All 3 are available in the community center and ready and willing to help you. Next up, we have Brian Prifty, who is our maintenance director. And that's John Novak in the middle there, our maintenance technician. And then to the right, you'll see Chris Harris, our compliance coordinator. You'll see all 3 of these gentlemen roaming the property, making sure everything is in working order. Here we have our pool attendants. They are in charge of making sure everyone is following the rules of the pool, such as no drinks in the pool, no diving, things of that nature, but also to have great conversation with you as you lounge in the sun. And just below, you'll see yours truly. I'm Jessica Cartier, the Lifestyle Director. Now we will take a look into some of the online tools that are at your disposal, as well as an overview of the Sandoval financials. Okay, so let's go over the association fees and dues for Sandoval. We have the Masters HOA dues, which are paid quarterly. These are due on or before the 1st of January, April, July, and October. All HOA fees can be paid by personal check via U.S. mail to the address printed on the statement, or via online through the Town Square app, or you can simply go to their website, which is listed here. If you are paying by check, please make it payable to Sandoval Community Association. And keep in mind, if you live in Somerville or the Villas, you'll likely have a secondary HOA, and that would be so for Somerville, you'd want to get in contact with Michelle Poling if you have any questions for this sub-association. Michelle Poling's information's here up on the screen. Also, if you live in the Villas, they are managed by First Service Residential. For questions regarding the Villas Sub-Association, please contact First Services at their contact information. Now, if you have questions or concerns, residents can always contact the accounting office at Associa Gulf Coast by dialing 239-277-0718 or the SCA Administrative Office by calling us. That would be the front office, 239-282-5525. And then you can always go online and view your account through Town Square. The Town Square app is kind of the hub where you can manage your SCA account, you can pay online, receive reminders about upcoming news, and easily communicate with the rest of your community, even participate in community polls, get instant email and push notifications. It's a great tool to have. You should receive an email from Town Square on how to get started. The Sandoval community website, livesandoval.com, has a wealth of information. Sandoval residents can locate here's some examples of what you can find through the community website: monthly calendars and scheduled meetings, community governing documents, tenant information and property access forms, the architectural forms, the ARC forms that we were talking about earlier, Sandoval's YouTube channel for the SCA streamed meetings, such as board meetings, resident directory, which is super helpful if you're trying to find somebody within the community, committee reports, so that means minutes for different committees, and other information such as that. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Sandoval Cape Coral Facebook page, as well as the Sandoval Video Box. In addition, don't forget the Instagram. A lot of the younger folks now are using that app, so we have expanded our coverage to be on Instagram as well. So the SCA is going to assign you a username and password with the directions on how to access the website. So keep the resident directory handy. We do keep that updated current with email addresses. The monthly cost of internet is included in the Masters HOA's quarterly assessments. Connection or reconnection fees are the responsibility of the resident. You are not required to maintain an active landline to enjoy the high-speed data access. The speed of our internet service is 500 megabits per second, and it is provided through Quantum Fiber, formerly CenturyLink. with a modem and router is included. Homeowners are responsible for calling Quantum to create their own Quantum account. Once the account has been set up, the owners will be able to call and check on the status of any outages or technical issues for their specific address. Now, it's important to note that that is the responsibility of the resident. We unfortunately cannot call on your behalf if you are experiencing issues because it is a bulk account. So you'll want to make sure that you are being proactive with your internet needs. Let's move on to the safety, security, and compliance portion of the presentation. All right, so we do live in a gated and private community that provides controlled access by use of vehicle barcode decals or resident key cards. The gated entrances provide entry into the community by residents, their designated visitors, and service vendors. Envera's system is contracted by SCA to control the community access by virtually controlling guest lists and vendor entry. So when you get to either the Veterans or Pine Island gate, you will, for your guests especially, they would need to speak to a virtual security guard. The three main gates are Veterans, Trafalgar, and Pine Island. Please note that the Trafalgar gate is going to be a resident gate only. And this is important because some GPS will send you and your guests to the Trafalgar gate, which is fine if you're a resident, you can gain access, but you'll want to let your guests know to use the designated visitor gates, which are Veterans and Pine Island. As mentioned, you can access the community with vehicle decals or your resident key cards. Vehicle decals are available for purchase, $15 per decal. Please remember you need to have your automobile registration at the time that you are purchasing the decal, and they are for your vehicles only. They cannot be removed and be placed in another, like a friend's vehicle. Decals aren't formatted for motorcycles, which means the cyclist should use their key cards. Key cards are $11 per resident, only one key card per resident. There are age restrictions that apply to the resident IDs per the Club Sandoval usage policy. And these cards can be used to allow access to the multi-purpose room, the sports courts, and different amenities such as the pool. If you need to manage your guest list, we cannot do that for you. You'll need to either call Envera themselves or use your mynvera.com. That's the easiest way to do it. It's very simple. They even have a mobile app that you can update right on your phone. So you can download that and add your guests as you need them. Road and traffic safety. Sandoval roadways are privately owned, therefore it's important to be mindful of the rules. Any motorcycles, motorized scooters, or anything resembling those modes of transportation should be properly licensed by the DMV if you are riding them within the community. Residents and their guests are prohibited from parking on any street within the Sandoval community, and between the hours of 1 a.m. and 6 a.m., parking violators may be towed at the owner's expense. And there is absolutely no parking on the street is allowed on Somerville Loop. Overnight guests can get a 72-hour guest parking pass from the clubhouse. However, the owner does need to be present when this pass is acquired. And of course, please be mindful of the speed limit in Sandoval is 24 miles per hour. All drivers are expected to adhere to these posted signs and to also be mindful in the Somerville Loop where the speed limit is 15 miles per hour. Very important. The Architectural Review Committee is comprised of Sandoval resident volunteers that review and either approve or deny applications based on the design review requirements. These are changes to the exterior of your home. Examples of these are listed on the screen, but include pools, screen enclosures, door replacements, etc. The ARC meets regularly, typically twice per month. We do want you to be proactive and go on livesandoval.com or Town Square. You can get the design review policy on there as well as other applications and forms. And if you have any questions, the ARC committee is available via email. That's sandovalarcreview@gmail.com. That is the best way to get a hold of them. Landscape regulations for individual homes. Our use of landscape plants is limited to species that will tolerate the hot and humid conditions of Florida. So according to our covenants, each resident is responsible for doing their part in helping to maintain this integrity of the community. Below is Sandoval's community-wide lawn standards. Lawns should be maintained at a maximum height of 4 inches. Edging of all hard surfaces, including driveways, sidewalks, curbing, edging of all soft edges, including plant beds, is done on a bi-weekly basis. Debris to be blown off of all hard surfaces, such as driveways and sidewalks. All plant beds, paved driveways, and sidewalks must be kept weed-free. Dead palm fronds should be removed on a regular basis. Trees, hardwoods, should be properly pruned to enhance the growth and the health of these trees. Fertilization of sod and plant materials should be performed 4 times per year to promote growth in healthy lawns and plants. And lastly, beds should be mulched using one of the materials approved by the use in Sandoval: cypress, eucalyptus, pine bark, and other straws and river rocks are approved ground cover. Red and colored mulches are not approved materials. And again, a lot of this information you can find on Live Sandoval and under the Architectural Review. Similarly, it is also our responsibility to preserve a healthy balance of vegetation and wildlife in the Sandoval lakes. And there are a few common sense rules and regulations. All property owners and landscapers are required to adhere to the following policy. When applying fertilizer, liquid or granular, do not spread fertilizer closer than 10 feet from the edge of the water. No chemicals, grass clippings, or any foreign substances should be introduced into the lakes or natural areas. No swimming, boating, or watercrafts. These are strictly prohibited on any lake. Fishing is allowed in the designated community lakes or from your private property. You should not enter anyone else's property to gain access to a lake. Our community does permit catch and release only. Fishing licenses may be required by the state of Florida, and cast netting is prohibited. Introducing new fish and other wildlife to the lakes is also strictly prohibited. Okay, covenants and enforcement. Here are the top 6 most common violations. Parking on the street after 1 a.m. Gate strikes are a big problem. Mildew on roofs and driveways. Landscape and mulch issues. The garbage cans not being stored properly, and unapproved signage. So these are the top 6 most common violations. If you are found in violation of any of these or other rules, you will receive a notice of violation that's similar to the one here on the screen. The first step in the enforcement policy is receiving that violation letter that was on the previous screen. And if the problem still persists 6 months later or the infraction hasn't been corrected, you'll get a second violation notice. that gives you 10 days to solve the issue. If that 10-day grace period passes and the issue has still yet to be resolved, you will receive a third violation notice. The matter will be placed on the upcoming Board of Directors meeting agenda for the next board meeting. At that board meeting, the board will determine if they want to impose a fine or suspend your amenities or things of that nature that they can do. If the board does vote to fine or suspend, then you will receive a letter stating that the board has imposed the fine. It will list any suspensions and provide details of when the hearing date is scheduled. On the hearing date, the Covenants Committee will hear each case, then vote upon the fine and suspension or not. Assuming that the fine or suspension is upheld, the next day a letter is sent out to the owner explaining the fine and suspensions, and all fines are due within 5 days. So that is the covenants and enforcement policy in a nutshell. Now let's move on to the amenities, guests, and rental policies. Club Sandoval rules and regulations. Residents, their families, and guests must all abide by the rules and regulations of Club Sandoval. Residents are responsible for their guests and also should inform them of the rules and policies in place. Dogs and other pets, with the exception of service animals, are not permitted in the community center. Shirts, shoes, and dry tires should be worn at all times. No parking and handicap signs should be observed. Violators will be towed at the owner's expense. The community center is a non-smoking facility. Smoking is permitted only in the designated areas. And this is for the realtors. There are no open signs allowed. Only approved wooden for sale signs should be displayed. Any open house signs that we see, we will remove them. There is technically no open house in a gated community. The Sandoval Community Guest Policy differentiates between a house guest and a day guest. House guests are persons staying at your home overnight up to a 3-week period. By obtaining a guest pass, they may use the Club Sandoval amenities without the resident having to be present. The guest pass can be obtained at the front office with a check of $25, and when the pass is returned, the fee will then be returned to you. Residents are required to send an email to the front office with the names of their guests and the dates of visitation, and then that way we can get them a pass and all set up. A guest pass may be renewed or suspended at the discretion of management. Now, a resident day guest, you do need to be with them at all times. It's important to inform them of the policies and rules as they are essentially your responsibility. All Club Sandoval policies will apply, and especially when using all of our amenities, and these policies are subject to change. Access to the different amenities is going to vary by age. Here we have a chart that depicts the various ages with their respective amenity. The number of guests will also vary. For example, the lagoon pool allows for up to 6 guests per household for adults that are 18 and over. Residents that are 14 to 17 are allowed 1 guest that is at least 14 years of age. The sports courts such as basketball and pickleball, bocce courts, and other sports fields allow for up to 3 guests. Now the Flex Fitness Center isn't as large as the other areas, so they will have a lower number of guests permitted. Rentals and leasing of property. So here at Sandoval, we do allow for you to rent out your home. However, homeowners who intend to lease their property personally or through a rental agency must submit a complete application package to Associate Gulf Coast On-Site Management 15 days prior. That's very important. 15 days prior to the commencement of the lease. This gives us enough time to set up the individual in our system so that way they can come in and get their access cards. The application should include a complete tenant information and property access form, which is located on livesandoval.com, a copy of the current lease agreement, and a non-refundable processing fee of $100. There's asterisks here. Somerville rentals need to complete their application rental first. So then the renter may complete the Master Association application. So first we need to have approval from the Somerville folks over there, and then we can begin the Master's application. Please take some time to review these documents. You can go to Live Sandoval under Associations, Governing Documents, and then Sandoval Rental Application. The acceptance of a lease or lease renewal application is going to require the following. All association master and sub-association fees must be current on or before the lease term start date. Property's exterior follows the community-wide lawn standards and the design review policy as stated in the resident handbook. Throughout the term of the lease, the homeowner, unless residing in Sandoval, will not have access to the amenities. The tenant is required to contact the on-site Associate Gulf Coast Management to initiate the access privileges such as their key cards and vehicle tags. Now there will be a charge to the tenant to purchase the vehicle decals and ID cards, that $15 and $11. The tenant's access to the community and amenities will be provided for the period designated on the signed tenant information and process access form. There's a minimum of a 30-day lease in Sandoval. We don't do short-term leases here at Sandoval. Please check with the administration office for the regulations on your street for leasing. Pelican Building Rental. The rental of the Pelican Building, also known as the multi-purpose rooms at Club Sandoval, is made through the Lifestyle Director. Residents are billed at $100 per hour, minimum of 2 hours, and a $300 security deposit is required to secure the date. A reservation is not confirmed until the reservation form is signed and the payment in full is received. This process should be completed 72 hours prior to the event. Cancellations within 30 days of requested event date will forfeit the security deposit. Cleanup fee will be applied if the room isn't returned to prior state or if trash isn't collected and appropriately disposed in the dumpster. The Pelican Building is a phenomenal asset to have in this community, so we want to make sure that it's preserved and in good standing. Lastly, we will go over the Sandoval lifestyle, so that includes all of the fun activities that we do here at Sandoval. We try to keep it lively here at Sandoval, so we have something for everyone. From kids' swim classes to poolside music performances, we keep events fresh and new to fulfill all aspects of resident life. Here are some of the examples of the events that we host. Sandoval is also a health-centric community and has been recognized by Lee Health as a partner in wellness. We also do educational lectures, carry-in dinners, dances, and regularly meet for coffee and conversation. The community library is an honor system library, but more than books, you'll find puzzles and games for young teens to adults, Residents are encouraged to keep these in mind when they have visitors in town or even on a rainy day at home. If you choose to make some donations, please only donate fiction. They have plenty of magazines and cookbooks and truly are looking for fiction. And please don't reshelf books. They usually have a basket where you can put your books in there, and only limit your donations to 5 books at a time. If you're an avid reader, you can always join the book club. They meet the second Tuesday of every month in the library, starting at 10 a.m. One of the best amenities that we have here at Sandoval is Calypso Park. The hours for Calypso are dawn till dusk. Parking of resident and guest vehicles is allowed only from that time. There will be no overnight parking allowed. Vehicles of any kind, you will be towed. Grills are provided, but you must provide your own charcoal. All debris is to be placed in the appropriate trash receptacles, and all personal items be removed. Cleanup is the responsibility of the resident, and residents may consume alcohol in a responsible manner and at their own risk. Music is allowed at levels that won't disturb the surrounding neighborhoods, so please keep your music at a decent level. Fishing is for on the pier only. Fishing from lake banks is not permitted. And of course, the catch and release policy is strictly enforced. Keep in mind that the lake is deep and the banks are steep, so you'll want to use caution, and there's no swimming or use of watercrafts. Those are strictly prohibited. The community has 2 dog parks, Barkley Dog Park and Happy Paws Park. The hours are dusk till dawn, and all dogs must be under the owner's or handler's control at all times. Female dogs in heat and puppies 4 months and under are prohibited. Dogs are not permitted to dig in the park. Owners and handlers must immediately pick up dog waste and dispose of it in the proper receptacle. Dog stations are maintained by the associate maintenance staff. Importantly, dogs must be legally licensed, vaccinated, and have their county-issued tags on. Any dog bite incident is the responsibility of the owner and must be immediately reported to Lee County Domestic Animal Services. Aggressive dogs are not allowed at any time. Children under the age of 14 must be accompanied by an adult in either of the dog parks. Food, bottles, glass, and sharp objects are prohibited. And also personal chairs are prohibited. Please do not bring your chairs and leave them behind. The mowers will not mow the grass if there are obstacles within their way. The lagoon pool is probably the most stunning amenity that we have here at Sandoval. Fully equipped with a water slide. Now you do have to be at least 42 inches to ride it. 2 tiki huts, which are first come, first serve. They are not rentable. And fun water features for the kids, but certainly don't forget the sunscreen here in Florida. Our fitness center boasts a lot of free weights, 5 treadmills, 7 ellipticals, stair climber, and many resistance machines such as the bench press and Smith's machines. So be sure to check it out. It does open at 5 a.m. so if you're an early bird, or you can do a late night workout because it does stay open until 10 p.m. One of the most popular entertainers that we've had here is Jimmy Maz. He's a singer and impersonator. We typically get around 140 attendees. The shows are usually right about $10 a piece, so at a discounted rate, you can have a great show right in the comfort of your backyard. Every year, Sandoval hosts an Easter Bash that is usually the Saturday before Easter, and we do it in the morning so it's not so hot. but there's over 8,000 eggs that we fill every year for all the kiddos to run out and grab as many as they can. Some of them have prizes in them, and of course there's candy in all the others. So in 2023 we had 2 bounce houses. We even had a dunk tank. 2024 we had magician and face painting. Quite the ordeal and a lot of fun, so be sure to look out for that. Every Halloween, we have 2 large events to take advantage of. We do a haunted house night that is scary, along with other games for the younger children. On Halloween night, we sell bracelets for visitors to come in through the gates. It has grown in popularity year over year, so we do make sure that there is police presence. That is what the proceeds of the wristbands go towards, and that just makes sure that all of the community can trick or treat in a fun and secure environment. Christmas celebrations do happen in the beginning of December. We typically do a Winterfest or sometimes just Christmas, depending on how the holidays line up. If Hanukkah lines up to where it is in early December, we will also do a menorah lighting instead, as well as the tree lighting. And so that was the case for 2023, where we invited the Chabad to come and do the menorah lighting. It was a beautiful tree lighting as well as menorah lighting. Of course, don't forget Santa. Santa was here to take pictures with the kids. And we also had a little mini market. So a lot of fun to be had during the holidays here at Sandoval. Food Truck Fridays happens at 5 p.m. in front of the clubhouse. We encourage all residents to come out and try different variations on food. We have a nice mix of food trucks that come in, from Asian food to Puerto Rican food to good old barbecue. Although those food trucks could be a guilty pleasure, it's very important that we still keep in mind our overall well-being and fitness. So we try to keep things very proactive with our health here at Sandoval. From our fitness classes such as water aerobics, we have amenities like the volleyballs that are really great workout. We do blood donations, CPR classes, and of course educational lectures. A lot of them are from Lee Health, but we also have neurological societies that have come by and done memory screenings and memory lectures. So a lot of great informative presentations to take advantage of. Well, this wraps up the new resident orientation. Should you have any questions, please feel free to shoot us an email at sandovalreception@gmail.com or simply stop by the front office. We're always happy to help. Thank you again for joining us.